We've all played a few games of poker at parties, but the film Grinders is about people who just play poker for a living. Now, Matt, what made you think that this would make a compelling documentary that you had to do?
Yeah, well, I mean, it started by accident. It started by me actually playing at these illegal underground clubs and then seeing this really cool subculture of players out there who call themselves grinders. A grinder is basically a full-time poker player. And so I started to meet these people and started to wonder maybe there's a documentary here.
Matt, why do you do this, bro? Why do you even have to pretend?
When the turn hits, I'm confident my set of jacks is crushing Andre. I'm all in.
Now, in terms of the actual story of the documentary, whose lives are we getting to see here?
It starts out by documenting my own story, which is I'm a freelance filmmaker. I was out of work. I was trying to raise money to pay the mortgage, and I decided to play at these clubs, and I started to actually make enough money to pay the bills. And then through those clubs, I started to meet these other grinders, guys who are playing 24/7, and they do it for a job. Along the way, we meet probably the best grinder in the world, which is a Toronto guy named Daniel Negreanu. And I think all the grinders around this area anyway look towards Daniel as being the superstar of poker.
Poker got hot. I got hot at the right time, and through that I was able to make some money on the business side of poker as well.
Do you think that we'll see a point in the future where this kind of thing becomes legalized?
Well, the reason underground clubs exist in Toronto, the reason there's hundreds of them, is because there are no casinos here. I mean, you have to drive an hour to the nearest casino. People saw a need for these poker rooms, and it's sort of like prohibition when they were trying to outlaw alcohol. It just doesn't work that well, and so that's why I think you see a lot of them now.
Matt, in the film we see people playing online, and then we also see them playing in person at these clubs. What's the main difference between the two?
Well, I mean, playing online is difficult for me anyways, because I just can't get a read of the players as well. I mean, there are guys who play online and do it very well, but the difference is just the amount of play you're doing. I mean, you play in a live setting and you're playing 20 hands an hour. You play online and, these guys are multi-tabling. You'll see 5, 6 tables going at once, and they're playing hundreds of hands an hour. So they're increasing the amount they can play and hopefully making more of a profit online. Personally, I like the live play better.
Matt, making a documentary is understandably a very difficult process to go through, but how much of a challenge was it for you to actually make the documentary and then also star in it and still attend these games as a player?
It was difficult because what was happening is that at a certain point I decided to make this film, and at the same point I was making a living playing cards, and I was torn between two things, and so I became a poorer poker player and a better filmmaker throughout the process, just because I think at the end of the day, I mean, making films is what I want to do.
When people see Grinders, what would you hope that they come away from watching the film with?
I would hope that, the average person watching Grinders would come to understand risk and how risk affects their own life. I mean, we all take chances and we all calculate risks daily, but a lot of us don't realize it. And I think risk is the one thing that was on my mind during the whole making of the film.